Welcome to Thrones and Scones. It's your weekday morning podcast where we talk about Game of Thrones over breakfast. It's Tony, Hans, and Jeremy in with you on a very epic intro day for a very epic episode. Season 4, Episode 8, The Mountain and the Viper, and Tomato Italian Herb.
Delicious.
Never before has that sounded maybe so anticlimactic. Hi, guys.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
Oh, we're here on a Wednesday. Continuing on with our season 4 here thing. As you can tell, I'm stalling painfully for time as I pull up the wiki. Oh,
which would be atypical of what is this?
Yeah, that's what you expect.
Yeah.
Careful where you throw your shots, Mr. Wrong Scone every other day.
Every other day. It's kind of my thing now.
Yeah, but here's the problem. But you're only the scone every third day, so...
So we're talking like I'm batting 0 right now lately.
You're batting negative percentile, unfortunately. Yeah. All right, I've got the wiki pulled up. It's another very short one. I think that these must be people who, just like us, are binging the show, and at this point they're like, you know what, I can't be bothered. Here's 2 sentences that just are painfully brief, but I do have it here to remind ourselves. Do we have any requests?
Oh, I haven't even been prepared for this.
The answer is certainly allowed to be no.
I feel like Darth Vader is a good one.
Darth Vader. I didn't bring... Here, do I have anything that can... Oh, but I tried to talk into my mug. I put my phone down. I guess I need the wiki up. Okay. Molestown receives some unexpected... Why is Darth Vader Morgan Freeman? Do we know? We don't know. What does Darth Vader say? No! Molestown receive. I can't do it. Molestown receives some unexpected visitors. Littlefinger's motives are questioned. I'd never liked sand. Ramsay attempts to prove himself to his father, and Tyrion's fate is decided. I've always loved you. Your hair and your breasts and the way you eat this pear when I feed it to you in force. I love you so much I would choke you. Was that good? Did you like it?
I think you nailed it.
Pretty accurate.
My personal favorite Vader, episode 2 Vader.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best, man. Oh, this is a big episode. I want to get right into it here. First, I want to check in with Hans. You're usually the one to poo-poo things a little bit more than others. I think that this takes a very nice turn into an awesome sort of setup. What do you think? Are you happy with this episode?
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
All right. I gotta tread carefully around you. I never know.
Yeah, it was good.
Then let's start at the very bottom of the heap. Jeremy, what's your least favorite part about season 4, episode 8?
So probably for me would be just the random Arya and the Hound at that part where they arrive at the Vale. I mean, it's more for comedy relief at this point because this episode gives you a lot, but yeah. I really felt it was unnecessary. It's like that. I don't think it added anything to this episode. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love them together, but I read on this. I was like, it's just, what was it, like 2 minutes, if that? And she like laughs and it's over. And you're like, okay, really? Like we needed that? Like I don't think we need it. That's all.
I really liked the weird, desperate laugh, actually. And I remember not enjoying it. So I don't know if it's just a reviewing thing, me accepting it or being more, realizing the kind of spot that she's in where it's like, yeah, what the hell else could she do at this point besides laugh? The real question I have about the moment is, do you think that none of the guards would really tell anybody that Arya Stark showed up? Like,
yeah.
I understand they're in the Vale. They've kind of held themselves off, but certainly they know who Arya Stark is. And even if they don't know that she's being looked for by multiple parties. They know that her dad's dead and her mom's dead, and oh yeah, she's also with the hounds.
Right. And
Something's going on there.
and Sansa's there. Like, why
Yeah,
would
well, but nobody knows that Sansa's
really?
there.
Because I feel like that would be something that, people talk. I mean, I guess that she is in this episode. I think it's this episode, maybe next episode, where Peter is going through the whole kind of Tribune. That
it's
comes
this
out.
one.
Okay. Well, I was saying, so I feel like that's kind of one of those things that someone would have said something pretty quickly. And if you're them, you've been traveling all this time, you need housing, you're just going to turn around. You're not going to be like, well, this is Arya. We need to refresh the horses, get some food.
Well, I assume that, it's,
It's her aunt.
this big gate for a reason. I assume that people aren't just allowed into the Eyrie, and that if they all of a sudden don't have business there, they wouldn't necessarily be welcomed.
Yeah.
But
I just thought it was a very odd part of the show. After everything was done really, really well, and I put down comedic relief, and then, that was pretty much it. I don't like the Vale in this sense. I think the Vale is a really cool setting, but I haven't really enjoyed the story at the Vale as much. I found this part, Baelish and the Tribune, all were kind of boring for me, in that thing. So out of the entire episode, this setting wasn't enjoyable.
And I think the other thing, just to add on all that, is because to me, Peter Baelish is kind of prides himself on, knowing all this stuff and being very well informed. And you're telling me this dude never knows that Arya Stark, like one of the main people he's looking for, is at his gate? I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous.
it is a little odd. And he's still trying to get in Sansa's good graces, and by good graces, I mean
Panties.
her panties. and I think finding her sister would go a long way to doing that. I mean, haven't you ever been like, you're taking your younger sibling out, your mom told you to, and you're going out and you're at the mall, and then you lose them and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be grounded forever. And some old man who was in love with your mom comes up and it's like, hey, I found your brother. And you're like, whew, thank God for that.
Any dropper.
Is there anything I can do for you? We've all been there, is all I'm saying.
I got hot and bothered thinking about that. The other thing about Baelish that the show I think has set up is, Varys and Baelish, they always are interconnected so much, right?
Yeah.
But then you don't see that for Littlefinger anymore, right? Like,
they're very much. Littlefinger has moved on from playing the Capitol at this point. They don't have interaction. How are they going to be involved?
I know, but I feel like when Lord Varys is out and gone, that he still has very much like the children responding to him, getting him information. He always still seems informed to me compared to Peter. And I thought the show kind of was playing that balance of, you have two kind of like information whores that's how they win things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, one is an information whore, and one uses whores for information. Get it straight.
You like my little foreplay there?
It was good.
Varys and Lord Baelish just texting each other back and forth. Hey, what's up?
No, they use emojis. That's all they do. Straight up emojis.
Yeah, it's got to be cryptic. Of course. Let's see. What do I want to hit on? I will hit my least favorite part just because I know somebody will probably have something to say about it. Out in Essos, in Marine, Jorah Mormont is finally ratted out from everything that he did against Dany. And I'm going to go ahead and for once come to Jorah's side and say that Dany was acting a little unfair.
She's a straight up cunt.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I understand her feelings of betrayal, but like, he spied on you for maybe 6 months?
Yeah.
And he's been with you for 5 years since? Like, I understand.
Saves you from being the wine thing, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you can't really say like, I saved you from getting punched in the face yesterday. Yeah, but it was you who almost punched me in the face. Well, still, like,
you're welcome.
You can only hold that over somebody for so long. But it does just seem a little uncharacteristically harsh. Like, it's an emotional decision, and we see way down the line that, it wasn't necessarily as easy for her to make that decision as maybe it appeared, but it seemed just real black and white, real fast. Oh, you gotta go now.
Yeah, that was my least favorite part too. I'm a little surprised to hear that was your least favorite part, Tony, given your lack of Jorah fandom.
Well, see, here's the thing. It plays into another least favorite element. Is it kind of seems like, oh yeah, Jorah is probably going to end up in a ditch, but he doesn't, and they try to make him a cool main character, and he's not. So I dislike it for that reason as well.
Yes, I actually liked it because I think it really works for Dany in the future when she's having more of these interactions where she's having to decide what kind of queen and ruler she's going to be. She's going to learn the game a little better of like letting things go, of realizing that past mistakes, you have to move past those things. And we see that later, where here is like that first time where she makes that rash decision and she watches it kind of like, oh wait, this person really was loyal to me, and maybe if I would have sat there and thought things through, I would have been a better queen. And I think that plays out for her.
I feel like she has made I don't know, I think that's just kind of her in general the entire time, is her making rash decisions. So
her Sansa, I feel like we're talking about Sansa this entire time. Yeah, no,
what?
Well, Sansa took a turn in this episode. She stopped sucking at lying. She got pretty dang good at it really fast, and then she went all Maleficent with her dress, and I'm sure things are looking up for her. She must be headed for something good. Who's to say?
Yeah, we don't want to be spoilery.
Yeah, we don't know. While we're in Essos, real quick, have you guys ever seen a hippopotamus?
Have we ever seen a hippopotamus in person?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or on the television, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Cool. Hippopotami, or hippopotamuses, they spend so much of their day in water. They're actually Africa's deadliest animal. Fun fact. They could crush you without a second thought, but most of the time they just want to chill in water because it gets hot in Africa. And sometimes they have to come up for air. So they'll emerge from the water in this really creepy way where their eyes just kind of come out. They're like, Anyway, Grey Worm does a hippopotamus so that he can get them googly eyes on Missandei, who is bathing, who then does the very odd thing of noticing, standing up to fully reveal every bit, and then covering up, which she kind of already was if she had just not stood up. And then she's like, well, and then Grey Worm, instead of like turning around, like he does look awkward for a second, and then he decides the best course of action would just be to stealthily hippopotamus back under the water.
Okay, I'll just tell you right now, that would be the favorite part of my episode. I wrote in my notes, Grey Worm, straight up floating perv, and then Missandei is exhibitionist.
That's very close to what I wrote, actually. Grey Worm pervs plus apologizes. And then they have a little discussion about it afterwards. Grey Worm, a very glass half full type of individual. I mean, when you don't have your balls, you got to have something. And he has optimism. And so, they have a nice little conversation about it. He apologizes. They get on good terms. And then he kind of doubles down on the crib where she's like, I'm glad that you saw me. And he went, yeah, me too.
This is good, right?
It was good. It was good for me. It was very good for me. And then Dany asked the question we've all been wondering: do they just have balls, or do they not just have? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The pillar and the stones?
Yeah.
Question mark.
A recurring theme on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when we get an official answer, maybe I'll be satisfied. But
what do you think of Reek? Theon going out to Kaelin? Yeah. And that whole scene, I don't know. I watched the scene and I'm like, okay, well,
I don't really think that he would be able to act this confident. Like,
Well,
they've
so that's
portrayed
exactly
him as
what I was
so
saying.
broken.
Yeah.
But then he starts failing and he starts falling apart, and I'm like, oh, I get it. And then like this ex machina dude comes from behind to just like pretend like he didn't notice Theon freaking out, and he's like, we can go home. And then Theon is able to compose himself enough to say, like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, totally. So I just didn't care for it. It is the first time we get to see a flayed body.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily
Feeling that.
thrilled with that. I have added it to my list of things to avoid, and that list now reads avocados and flayed bodies.
Solid list. Solid.
So, yeah, it's not a very long list, but it's ever growing.
Killer bees are up there for me as well.
Tony's list of things to avoid: apparently avocados, flayed bodies, and not going to prison for a crime you didn't commit.
Oh my God, yes! Oh, being wrongfully convicted of a crime. Yes. I had that thought today and got like heart palpitations from it.
For those of you who don't know, this is Tony's biggest fear.
So I don't know if you guys ever do this, but I was walking, I went to go pick up food, and it was just like, it's less than a 5-minute walk from my apartment. And there was just this guy, and we passed each other, and he said something to me. People in this town don't talk to you when you're walking. I would know I walk a lot. So it threw me. And I said, oh, hi, Emma, how you doing? And he responded in kind. And then I stealthily muted my earbuds that were in. And as I'm walking past, I heard footsteps change. And I was like, oh, this dude is coming for me. So in my head, I prepared a full battle strategy of how to kill this man when he came for me.
Not just incapacitate, kill.
Kill. Yeah, kill. Because he was going to come at me with a knife, and I needed to turn that knife around so that he wasn't a danger to me or others or himself. And the best way to not be a danger to yourself is to be murdered. And so, but we're very close to a police station, and I had this like thought of like, what if he comes at me with a knife, and then I turn around, I defend myself, but these cops rush out, and that dude was an off-duty cop, so they cover it up. And then I go to prison, and my life is over. You know, we've all been there.
We've all been there. Yeah.
That's so weird. That happened today, and I just had to go inside and eat my chicken sandwich and pretend like that didn't happen.
So I take it you did or you didn't murder this guy, or should we just cut the episode quick so you can tell us? Or?
Yeah, no, I did not murder this guy.
Okay.
Stabbed him in both kidneys and ran away. Don't know what happened.
He was alive when I left.
Exactly. I plead the 5th. And 6th and 7th times that I stabbed him.
So that change in like walking was probably him like crossing the street.
Yeah.
Probably. But in my head,
that change in walking was him like thinking to himself, oh dude, this creepy dude in front of me keeps looking back. I'm almost positive he's gonna stab me or something. So he like started slowing down.
We probably had the same mental conversations with ourselves, and I bet it would have been a good fight. We were both so prepared. So yeah, I'll try to avoid that along with flayed bodies. But Ramsay flays a couple bodies and then gets the ultimate promotion from bastard to not such a bastard, even though he's absolutely like the non-biological bastard, like, you know?
For sure.
So yeah, Ramsay gets legitimized. And then anything else that you want to touch on before we move to King's Landing?
I don't think so.
No, I think everything. Yeah, the King's Landing stuff is the best.
Yeah, I've been holding out.
So we start with another awesome Tyrion and Jaime scene.
Yeah, they've all been great.
They've all been awesome. This one are they trying to say that Tyrion killed their weird cousin? He tells this whole story of Orson killing these beetles, and he goes on and he goes on, and he's talking about how he got obsessed with it, and he was getting enraged by it, and then it ends very abruptly of until that day when he died and when a mule kicked him in the chest, and he just got quiet, and Jaime like just processed it like he knew the story, and then paused and looked up, and I was like, I've never noticed it before, but it kind of seemed to imply that like maybe Tyrion had something to do with that.
I didn't even notice that, to be honest.
Because I thought that whole Beetle story was really fucked up and really boring.
So maybe it's a little darker.
Yeah, but that would make him a psycho, which would be awesome.
Yeah. Either way, I did think that it was a cool moment. And again, just great honesty from them, developing their relationships, which we haven't gotten to see too much prior to this season. And then I haven't gone through and created a list. I'm sure we'll do that at the end of everything, but I am 100% confident in saying that this is in my top 5 scenes of this show. The Mountain and the Viper. Head to head, spear to sword, martel to Clegane, and whatever else you want to pit up against each other. Perhaps the most badass fight we've seen yet.
Oh yeah. It's great. Did you guys think, first time watching it, that it was going to end how it did?
Because I had read it. But I will answer as far as I read it, because this is one of those scenes that I read and was like, it's going to be different in the show because they're not going to be able to do it like that graphic and that crazy. And then they did. This is almost word for word, this scene in the book and in the show. It's done very well. Mm-hmm. And I was absolutely floored when I read it. Like, it gives you jitters as well. I mean, there's nothing quite like seeing and hearing a man's skull pop. But, the imagery was there, and I absolutely did not expect
and I
to
think
go down like
Oberyn
this.
is a much more likable character in the show compared to the book. I don't remember liking him as much in the book as I did. I mean,
I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I felt like his character is cool. You're rooting for him. All these things, like the actor that portrays him does such a good job of making you feel all of his pain. So when you get to this, it sucked knowing the end of this because God, you wanted him to win. Like I just wanted that so badly. But it was a cool fight scene. It was, I definitely say it's in the top 5. I mean, it's a good point.
It's I think the scene that I've shown the most people, like people who are never going to watch Game of Thrones, I show them this scene just to be like, this is like how cool this show can get. Yeah, and I'm just, it sends chills down my spine every time. And it's so much, I mean, Tyrion's reactions are great. Illyria's crazy scream is bananas. The Mountain and, very long Swedish man. I don't know the Mountain's actor's name. And Pedro Pascal do great. But then seeing Tywin and Cersei's reaction, seeing Jaime basically getting giddy at one point with the fact that he thinks that, Tyrion might survive this whole ordeal. The whole thing is really well done.
Yeah, it's just so good. It's even hard to put it, it's hard to talk about this scene because it's hard to explain, right, how cool it is, because you just have to watch it. Mm-hmm. It's an experience,
Yeah. Yeah. And the only cringe I have in this scene is the cringe that they wanted to put into us, where it's like, all right, can you just do your weird frantic pacing 3 steps farther away from his not quite yet dead body? Please.
Yeah. Or just leave your spear in for a little bit longer, which will pretty much prevent him from being able to mount you and explode your head.
But
do you think first episode of Disney's The Mandalorian or whatever will be him gaining revenge on somebody and just screaming, "You raped her! you killed her! Or you murdered her! How's it go? You raped her! You murdered her! You killed her children!"
Yeah,
over and over again.
Your Oberyn impression is very good as well. That was spot on. Is Pedro Pascal who they cast for that?
Yeah, he's the Mandalorian.
I didn't even notice that. I don't think he'll bring it up at all, because actually I've seen him since, and he seems to have lost all interest in it in order to pursue Pablo Escobar. So now that that's taken care of, I don't know. Maybe he's back on it. But yeah, it's crazy. Some very cool stuff in this episode. One of the best thus far. I think the high point from the season
I think so.
Yep.
I think this was, as far as episodes so far, I remember the first time I saw this scene specifically, even more so than the Red Wedding, just because I think, like, going into the Red Wedding, I had heard things, and I kind of knew that something was going to happen. So I didn't know what, but I kind of was prepared. When I would first watch this scene, I absolutely thought Oberyn was going to win. I had no idea that any of this happened. And it just blew my mind. Or I smashed my skull, I guess.
My skull against the ground. Oh. Maybe the worst part of the whole thing is when he gets tripped or whatever, and then picked up, and he's like, "Hey, what's happening?" And then like half of his teeth just go spilling across the ground.
Yeah,
like,
the one punch.
We get a lot of face hurt. I actually have a moment from next episode as well that I want to wait to talk about until then. But some great action here at the tail end of season 4, and a little juggly as well. We already talked about Missandei. Early on in the episode, we also get to see the ladies up in Molestown flashing their bits around and complaining about the tiny cocks of the Night's Watchmen that they're forced to deal with. But seemingly having a good time. That is until Ygritte in full-on heartbreak rage comes in and just slaughters
decimates them.
Everyone.
I totally forgot about that part of this scene.
Yeah, I don't even think I wrote that down. I was still in shock and awe at the Oberyn scene.
Indeed.
Was that the beginning or was that the end? I can't even remember.
Yeah, it was right at the beginning. I think it's the second thing that we saw. Oh, actually, it was the first thing that we saw. I wrote intro Mo Kalen first, but that's just because it was in the in the intro.
The Molestown was right in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, see, maybe I didn't even write that down. I must not have been.
Because
engaged yet.
the whore that's making fun of her or whatever, doesn't she get like a spear or an arrow through her chest?
Yeah, she dies, and then Ygritte spares Gilly.
Yeah,
and who knows if she'll make it to the wall? I guess we'll find out soon. But even sooner than that, I would like to find out if this tomato Italian herb scone lives up to its hype. Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
Let me tell you, I know you're gonna interrupt me because you guys are cocks, but let me just tell you something really quickly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So we're in Cleveland. It's the Phoenix Cafe, and it opens at 7. And so my wife and I were there. We're like, oh, let's get some coffee and scones. This has like nothing in the case except for like a few scones and like a few cookies. And
a weird sign that just seems to say, you can find more about our podcast at thronesandscones.com, and you can find more from us. And then it had a drop-down menu with some prices listed.
The worst scone I've ever had.
And below all of it said, you down with GOT?
Yeah, I fucking hate you.
Yeah, you know me.
I don't want to hear the backstory, but is the scone good?
Scone was horrible. Scone was horrible.
It was not good?
No.
Did you just go in raw dog?
Yeah.
I feel like these savory ones, you almost need a little some.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is we're there and like there was like nothing out to eat with it. Just like they literally took it out. It was like a rock hitting a plate. It was like Luke Cold, Oh, it was disgusting.
Luke Cold.
Luke Cold.
Yeah.
He's here for justice and he won't wear a hat. It's Luke Cold.
It was horrible. It was bad.
It's like a G.I. Joe character or something.
He is. He's got one blue eye.
What coffee shop did you say you were at? Cleveland Steamer.
There's your first red flag.